Hi, I'm Marky.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is the Happy Everly After podcast. Hello, and welcome to Happy Everly After, the podcast, where we talk about feeling joy and pain at the same time.
Yeah.
And we feel a lot of both.
Mm-hmm.
But like more joy than pain, I think.
Most of the time, yeah.
Most of the time. But that's what we're here to talk about, is all of our feelings.
Let's talk. It's kind of a crappy weather day outside.
It is, you guys. The other day we were literally eating popsicles and jumping on the tramp. And then today it's like, weather warning.
It's supposed to snow all night and into tomorrow.
Yeah, like Van's teacher messaged us and it was like, we might get a late start tomorrow at school. I'm like, are we having another snow day? Like, what is happening?
It's supposed to snow from now until through tomorrow. Something like that.
Let's be so boring and talk about the weather.
Yeah, you gotta get your information from somewhere.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is a news outlet now.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. In Bluffdale, Utah, it says that it's snowing, but it's not sticking, so the roads are just wet.
That's what Apple Maps says anyways.
Yeah,
Apple
and like
weather.
all of our Alexas, our entire house like wakes up like, boom, what? Alexa, what? But do you guys get those notifications? It's like weather warning.
I don't.
Yeah, you don't, because it just goes yellow and it drives me crazy. So I have to say, Alexa, read me my notifications. And then she goes, what? Winter weather advisory. Anyways, not what I want to hear when I want it to be sunny.
Yep, done
Sunny
with wintertime.
and 75.
Ready for some sunshine, for sure.
So, what are we talking about today? Heavy or not heavy?
Let's get heavy.
Oh, geez.
Let's get heavy with it. Why
So,
not?
just so you guys are aware, when we do heavy topics, we literally don't talk about these topics. I mean, even the other topics, we don't talk about these topics before we hit record. Like, we literally just go for it. We have like sticky notes that has the topic, but that's all. And then this is just off the cuff, non-scripted.
Freestyle.
That's right.
It's not really my forte, but
it's good. It's good. And I was going to say it's really funny because friends and family have been telling me, they're like, it's so fun to like get to know Drew. Because
it's not like I'm some hermit.
You're not a hermit, but like even my sister said that. She was like, it's so fun to like get to know Drew on your podcast because, well, just like my family is so loud that like you're not the loudest person in the room.
Well, I can read a room, and if someone is
louder than you,
then yeah, I'm
me.
cool to take a back seat. Sure,
yeah.
Cool. Have your
spot
in the
you're
limelight.
Not a shy person.
Yeah,
you just are okay to not like be loud and obnoxious.
Yeah. And I can read a room, and yeah.
When I'm totally okay to be loud and obnoxious.
Yeah, clearly.
And so that's the difference. But no, so that's what I was gonna say is like I've heard people say that it's been fun.
Cool. Well,
hearing from you.
You're welcome, people.
You're welcome.
Welcome into my life. Call me, text me.
Call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
My phone number is...
Please don't. Please don't.
Our address is...
Social security numbers are...
Don't tell that to TikTok. They already have it.
Oh, jeez.
TikTok already has all that information.
I'm still not deleting it.
You need to.
I
need to read through the terms.
I love it so much. It's so fun.
Shh. TikTok's a scary thing, people. Read through those terms.
So today...
I deleted mine.
I know you did.
Not that I used it, but I deleted it.
Yeah. I just want one of my videos to go viral on TikTok, and then TikTok will start paying me $1 zillion.
At what cost?
That's the goal. At what cost? Little old me? Like, no one cares. People in China don't care about little old me.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I'm serious. Like, they don't.
It's not
They have bigger
about
fish to
just
fry.
you. It's about the collective. Like, they're using that to freaking spy on us. That's crazy. That we're just handing that information over to them. Anyways, that's a whole nother separate podcast that we could get into that. And I don't even know all the details, but it's scary. Just the details I do know.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about grief.
It is like the funnest topic ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's life, part of life.
It is life. I mean,
happens.
we all
go through it.
grieve. We all learn it one way or another. It's freaking terrible. Like, it is terrible. But it's so weird because, like, grief makes you feel so lonely. But, like, we all grieve things.
But
so
in
it
different
shouldn't feel so isolating, but
we all
it's
do it
so
differently, though.
isolating. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it doesn't matter that 14 people around you are feeling similar feelings. You still feel alone. You still feel lonely and still feel like you're the only one who feels that way. I don't know. That's how I am. Do you feel that way? Not really?
I don't really think about it.
Compartmentalize. Woo!
Sweep it under the rug.
Yeah.
Shove it in the closet until it bursts open. But yeah, a lot of people know like how we found out about Everly, what happened when she was with us. But like, we have never really like opened the door to people on like what it was like after she passed away. Just like the months and even that first year after she passed away.
So we're going to try to tap into that right now, which is hard because we try to stay positive, but this is one of those moments where, for me anyways, like, it reminds me of like how much I love her and how important she is in our life, and just like tapping into that emotion and allowing myself to like fiercely just grieve her and miss her so much is just a reminder of how much I love her. And so it's like, okay, like, let's like take a deep breath and kind of like get on that level, because it is a different level than what I feel like we try to be on. Like, we're pretty good at like,
I mean, no one can operate at that level long term.
Right.
And
no one can operate at a happy, bubbly level all the time either. But I'm just saying, like, me and you are pretty good at like balancing each other out when we're feeling highs and lows. And I feel like with this episode, we kind of have to dig deep a little bit, and that's okay. So we are prepared for that. We're ready. I think I kind of want to start out with the night that she passed away and just like kind of what that looked like. Okay. I did a blog post for Love What Matters, where I wrote out in detail about the night that she passed away. And like a not so fun fact is I actually suffered with like pretty severe PTSD after Everly passed away. Whenever I would hear the Apple ringtone,
just like the default ringtone.
That one.
I can't even remember it at this point, but
I do, because I changed mine in my mind. Because we left the hospital to go put Urban to bed, and then we were home for like maybe a half hour, 40 minutes when we would get a phone call that...
We were like laying down in bed.
See, and that I don't even remember.
Yeah, we were like, Urban was asleep. We were laying down. Like, we hadn't fallen asleep for the night yet or anything like that, but we were like winding down, about ready to fall asleep, and she was doing great the day before.
Yeah,
like that day she was doing awesome.
My mom, who had been staying with us for like on and off for the couple weeks that Everly was alive, she was helping out with Urban. she had gone home literally like the day or two before, because Everly was doing really good and she needed to go home to St. George to like check in on things and take care of business down there. And then, yeah, we got that phone call and it
was just from the hospital.
It was a social worker.
Yeah, saying that we needed to
saying,
get to the hospital
hey,
as fast as we
Everly's
could.
not doing very good. We need you guys to rush back.
We got that call one other time while she was there, because she coded while she was in the SICU. Yeah. So we were like, oh, geez.
SICU stands for cardiac ICU.
So yeah. One of our neighbors like watched Urban. Yeah, like
because
sat
again
in
at that
our
point
house.
We didn't have a babysitter at our house at the time. So I literally texted my neighbor and was like, "Hey, we're gonna call Drew's parents to come over, but they live 20 minutes away. Can you come sit in our house for a couple minutes before my in-laws come over?" And we left. Like, we literally just, like, left the front door unlocked and knew that Sarah would go over and sit in the living room. And
we were flying down the freeway.
Flew up
there. Because
we lived probably like 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
From the hospital, yeah.
And I just remember, like, I wouldn't say we were, like, panicked or stressed. We were just really quiet. And
I mean, I knew it wasn't good.
Yeah.
And so
it was one of those things
like,
where
what do you say?
I don't know if it was you or me, situation. But it was said at one point or another on that drive of how much can her little body take? How much more can she go through this?
Yeah.
And we kind of just said, yeah, like it's every parent's worst nightmare, but we both just, I feel like we kind of knew at that point that it wasn't good. And yeah. So we drive up there, we get to primaries, we run upstairs, we run to her room, and the nurses and doctors are all prepping us. And you should know, like, Everly was doing so good that she was on the recovery floor. So everybody that was there, like, they don't like see babies pass away every day. Like, they're not used to seeing that. They're on the recovery ward where they're like having their babies like gain weight and learn how to eat and stuff before they're sent home. So so in my blog post going back, I go into more detail, but basically I walked into the room and that was right when they called time of death. She had been coding for about 45 minutes and they couldn't revive her. And at that point, it was just too severe. They couldn't get her hooked up to the ECMO machine, which is a machine that is like basically a heart outside of the body. Anyways, and her brain, they even warned us, like, at this point, like, even if they keep her heart beating, her brain probably isn't doing so hot. And so yeah, that's in a nutshell how she passed away. We didn't do an autopsy or anything, but they basically told us that she just had a heart attack and her little heart was overcompensating for whatever was going on with it for so long, and then once it couldn't fight anymore, these heart babies take drastic turns, and then it's really bad really fast. So
yeah
crazy.
It was a wild night for sure.
So I'm like super into like medical stuff and Drew isn't. And so I walked into the room right as they called time of death, while Drew walked into another room that at this point now looking back, they did that so that we could have privacy.
Oh, I just freaking collapsed on the freaking couch.
Yeah.
In the room next to it.
So at that point, he went into a room next to Everly's room. I walked into Everly's room. They called time of death. I started collapsing, and not only was I mourning losing her, but also like for that 30 seconds I knew that she had passed away before Drew knew. And And that killed me inside as well. So that was really hard for me. And then they came in. I remember seeing all of their eyeballs on me because it was just like 17 people in blue, like their aprons and masks and head bonnets and stuff. And I just remember all of their eyeballs looking at me once the doctor called time of death. And then I just like started collapsing as I walked into the other room where Drew was. And again, for that couple of seconds, I knew and he didn't know. And then somebody followed right behind me and told us, I already knew, but then told Drew and I at the same time that they were so sorry, but they couldn't revive her at that time. So at that point, geez Louise, you doing okay, honey?
Yeah. I mean, as good as I can be. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I really am like so good at just compartmentalizing. I almost feel like it's not real. I feel like it's like I don't allow it to be my story until I'm like by myself. I don't like the quiet. I fall asleep with like watching shows and playing games and stuff in my ear, and so
I just don't replay. Like, I don't replay that in my brain often. So when I do, it like just kind of brings back a lot of the same emotions.
And I think that I'm like very desensitized because I think that in my nightmares I see all their eyeballs looking at me. That's just how we mourn different. And that's one of the topics, or like on our little sticky notes right here, is just like the difference in the way we grieve, because it was very different and still is, I feel like. So after that, I remember the nurses, all the nurses were in tears too. They dressed her, they let us hold her. If you've ever been through that, I am so sorry you have been through that, because that is an experience that no one should ever experience. Just simple as that. It's very like we all talk about like the spiritual side and like how I didn't feel like she was still there in her body, but like nobody talks about like the morbid side where it's like literally her body like feels so heavy on my lap and like stuff like that, because her muscles aren't holding her up, and that's stuff that people probably are like, ooh, that's terrible, but that's the reality, people. Like that's what lost parents, like that's what we've been through. We've held our babies when their muscles aren't working anymore, and I don't wish that on anybody because it's absolutely terrible. Okay, so we did that. Yeah. They offered to like have us take pictures with her, stuff like that, like, and I kind of regret that. I didn't call my family to like come say bye to her. I didn't call your family to come say bye to her. I mean,
this was at like 1 a.m. at this point, 1 or 2 a.m. at this point. It's like,
and I put a bow on her head. I tucked her into her bed and put the blanket over her. And I did take a couple pictures and, just kissed her head. And then we left the hospital empty-handed. It was terrible. We got home. Drew's parents were in the living room. I don't know what happened after that with them because I went straight upstairs. I didn't even make eye contact with them. I just walked inside and walked upstairs. Drew went and like, I know that his parents like held him and hugged him. I went upstairs and went straight to Urban's room, who he was like 19 months at the time. And he was a crazy kid, but this is a true story. He was so wild and so busy that he never cuddled. He never snuggled us, and it bugged me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why doesn't my baby want me to hold him? Like, it bugs me. He always wanted out of my arms, wiggle, wiggle out of my arms, diving for the floor. I am telling you, from the day that Everly passed away, he started letting me hold him.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote about that in my like journals and stuff, because I was just like, Urban like knew that I needed to like fill my arms, because my arms felt so like heavy and they just hurt so bad, and Urban just let me hold him, and so I'm so grateful for that. So I went upstairs, I picked up Urban, I held him for I don't know how long. It could have been 5 minutes, it could have been an hour. I literally don't remember how long. I put him back in his crib. He stayed asleep the whole time. And then outside of his room, I just like collapsed to the ground. And literally every single time in that hallway, like I can still picture it. I just remember like I was cold. I didn't have like the strength to get up and get a blanket for myself. Drew was taking care of himself somewhere. I don't know if you came and got me. I don't know if I eventually crawled to our bedroom. We don't remember. You don't remember?
No idea.
No, I don't remember. But somehow I got to bed. I think I took half a Xanax or something to help me sleep.
No idea.
So
no
yeah.
idea.
So then what do you do after your child dies?
Yeah, the hard part is, like, at least for me, like, and obviously we had tons of support, like
So much.
my family, your family, like friends. Like, we couldn't see our countertops because so many people sent flowers and like cards, and like people coming to say
people raised money for us for the funeral.
Yeah, but outside of that, yeah, I mean, so that kind of helped for the first couple days,
just like
after,
the hustle and bustle of like planning the funeral
and
having family come in and out of town. Are they staying with us? Are they staying in a hotel? I remember a bishop from my old ward who we literally named Van after him and my dad. His name is Bishop Scott, and I just love him because Van's name is Van Scott. And when I woke up the next morning, he was in our living room. Him and his wife and one of his daughters, they were in our living room. And he gave me a priesthood blessing. I know that Drew at the time didn't feel like coming out of our bedroom. And so we just gave him that space.
I didn't feel like talking to anyone. I didn't feel like...
Yeah.
I didn't feel like
and at
doing
that
much
time,
of anything.
We had people like reaching out to us, like offering like funeral home services, like discounts, caskets.
We had to plan headstone and like
headstone stuff, like
all that stuff.
All of it. It's just ugh. Shout out to my mom who helped us out a lot with that. Here's where a little bit of controversy comes in. Okay, so the first couple of days we're just like surviving. We're just, who even knows? I remember we got Cafe Rio delivered the next day, and I was just like, why are you all just eating Cafe Rio? How can I eat this? Like, my daughter just died. Like, don't you guys understand that? Like,
you feel guilty
my
doing
brain literally
anything.
couldn't process how like my entire world has shifted upside down, yet Cafe Rio is still like serving food. Like, how dare they? Like, your brain literally cannot fathom or catch up to that.
Yeah, well,
and
you feel guilty doing anything that's not like thinking about them or being sad. Like, if you're not being sad, then like you're betraying terrible about yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like,
you must not feel that bad because you just washed your dishes. It's like, well, what else do you do?
I just wanted to like completely zone out. So like I would like go to play video games just like completely distract myself, but I felt guilty about like turning on a video game because I was like, why should I be able to like play a video game and not be sad
It's like I
about
want
what's
to
going
tune
on right
out
now.
because I cannot take this pain, but I want this pain because my daughter died. Like I have to, I like want to feel terrible because like I should be feeling terrible right now.
Yeah.
So it's like that constant battle. And I feel like
Or
I
to
still,
like laugh at something, or like to go out and like do something fun.
yeah,
Like I think my brother-in-law's invited me to go play
Top
golf like
the day of the funeral.
after the funeral, and I was like,
But that's the thing, you guys, like, what else do you do? What do you do? Do you go home? Do you turn on the TV? Do you stare at the wall?
because the opposite is not good either. Like just sitting in it and like not letting yourself
Yeah. It's
live
terrible.
a life is not
And
a
it's
good
funny
thing either.
Because even me, like, when we got on this tangent of me being like, this might be controversial, but it's like, what did you do? Like, have you suffered immense loss? What did you do? Like, like, we had a freaking 19-month-old, a 19-month-old. Like, we couldn't just like send him to school Monday through Friday, 8 to 4.
And after so
Like,
long, like all the family and friends that were helping us out, they had to obviously get back to
their lives,
their normal lives.
Yeah.
So like at that point, it's like you don't really have a choice. Like you just kind of have to do it. And like, I don't know. For me, I feel like it got, no, I don't know, easier is not the right word, but like more manageable, I guess.
Yeah,
to
for
like
sure.
be able to like feel okay with it. And like after like working through some of those emotions, like knowing that like she wouldn't want me to just be like crying in my bedroom the rest of my life, but like she would still want me to like go out and like be a good person and like make a difference in the world, kind of a thing, you know? I don't know.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I think like it's one of those things I try to remind people that they're like, well, yeah, like you have to move on with your life. A very valuable lesson I learned is there's a huge difference in moving on and moving forward. And I'll do a visual for YouTube. If your grief is this size, like the size of a quarter, let's say it's the size of a freaking basketball. Your grief is this huge. Like right now, your world is only a little tiny bit bigger than that basketball. Mm-hmm. But as time goes on, your world slowly gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and your perspective is growing. But that basketball of grief is still the same size. And so even though that grief that you're carrying is the exact same size as it was 5 years ago or a year ago, it becomes a little bit lighter. The burden becomes a little bit lighter because your perspective is different. And so it's not moving on, it's moving forward. And I say all the time, people will say, oh, you're so strong, I could never. Meh. Ugh.
You have, like,
and I'm
you
like,
don't have another
well,
choice. What's the
I
other
literally
choice?
woke up this morning and I was still breathing. So like, still breathing? Cool. All right. I guess like time is still ticking. I'm still breathing. I don't have a choice. This is my life. And I have to learn to make the best out of this life because Everly didn't get to live a long life. And I do. So like, am I just going to squander it? No, like I'm going to honor her by like living the best life that I can.
And I think it's important to say that we like, because we knew it would be beneficial for us, like we went and saw a counselor.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
not because our marriage was on the rocks, just because we knew it would be good, which therapy is good for anyone. Like,
so good, you guys.
I think it's good even if you feel like you're in a good spot.
It's good to get an outside opinion from somebody who's a professional that knows what's going on in your brain, that can give you the tools to help yourself. Like, you're only hurting yourself if you don't allow somebody to help you. Anyways, go on.
No, I was just gonna say,
I do
like,
think that
it's
helped.
not like we just like powered through it on our own. Like, we got a lot of help from like
Well,
each
we
other and
didn't
like
go
family,
to a
friends.
therapist at the very beginning. We started going to a therapist like it was like a while later. It was like a year later. And it was because we were starting to do genetic testing and things like that to make sure we could get pregnant again, or we were thinking about it.
And not have the same thing happen.
Yeah, and basically like we were getting to a point where we were like, "Okay, we still want more kids." And I reached out to this therapist to basically I literally asked her, "I'm here because I want to make sure I've grieved properly," which is like so silly to like think about now, because it's like, is there a right way to grieve? But like, I just wanted to make sure I was like mentally healthy enough to like move forward and like continue to grow our family and do all the things on our list of goals, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what should people do if they have someone around them? Because we all have people grieving around us. How should we best help them?
Oh man,
Now that
great question.
we've been through it ourselves, like if someone has a tragedy happen in their lives, like what's the best way to help someone that is grieving?
I'll tell you.
Okay, tell us.
Even if your intentions are so pure and so good, I know that you don't want to make things worse by bringing up the loss. But just know that we already feel that loss so immensely that there's nothing that you can say to remind us of the loss. Don't act like our daughter's death is like the elephant in the room. Ask us, "Hey, how are you? I'm thinking of you. I'm here for you." Don't give us advice. Don't say that our child is in a better place. Don't say that she was too perfect for this world. Like, I get that those are like, you think those are nice things to say. Or even like people, my mom she even said a couple times, "I couldn't go through this. I couldn't do what you're doing. Like, I wouldn't be strong enough." And I'm like, well, I'm not freaking strong enough. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, Mom, like those comments, that exact comment, you have to be careful with, because I don't want to be strong enough to go through this trial. So like, number one, say our kids' names, appreciate them, remember them. We love to talk about them for the most part. If we don't, we'll make that clear to you. But I'm pretty sure if somebody around you has lost somebody, they're already thinking about that somebody. You're not going to remind them and like ruin their day. If anything, you're honoring that loved one. Number two, get help. Don't think you can do it on your own. Seek out therapy. They're professionals for a reason. They went to school. They know what's going on in your brain. Number three, and this one is terrible, I'm sorry, but empathy is better than sympathy. And so if you haven't been through something similar, or if you're comparing your situation to theirs, just be really careful with that, because you don't want to diminish what they're feeling at the time. It's like, "Oh man, yeah, I've been through that too. My dog was my baby and my dog died last year." Okay, like that, just don't compare my baby to your dog. Like, I get your dog is your baby, but like maybe don't do that. So just like be really like mindful, and all you have to say is, "I'm thinking of you. I love you. I'm thinking of you, and I'm here." That's it. That's all you have to say. And a little bit goes a long way. A text goes a long way. If you don't come to the funeral, don't come to the viewing, that's one thing. Maybe you were busy, but don't ignore me for a year. Don't not talk to me because you're nervous that, I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't talk to me, but I did. I lost a couple friendships after Everly because it was just, I don't know if it was too hard for them. Like, sorry, it's hard for you. But like a simple text goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
No, it's all good. Like, yeah.
Dang, I didn't know that I had such an opinion on all those things.
Wow, you have an opinion?
Wow.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
You're so unopinionated.
No, I really do think that people's intentions are so good and so pure. And I don't want to nitpick. And I'm the last person to get offended by stuff. Like, I am like a duck. It rolls off my back. Like, it really, and I'm actually really good at giving people the benefit of the doubt and being like, oh, they didn't know that hurt my
some
feelings.
people are just doing the best that they know how to do.
Totally.
Like, maybe they've
But
never
I will
experienced
tell
something
you,
like that. Or...
the worst thing you can do is not say anything, because then it's awkward. I much rather you say the wrong thing, or I much rather you say, Marky, I don't know what to say. Like, I am so sorry. I don't know what to say, but I love you. That's it. And send me that text once a month for a freaking year, and you're a lot better of a friend than some of the friends that I lost when I lost Everly. For sure.
No.
Dang. Okay. Anyways.
Cool.
Yeah. What's the difference okay, let's talk about depression versus anxiety. Because that's very different for me and you too.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I just bring it up because after Everly passed away, I completely turned fearless. Like, YOLO. I am a YOLO parent. I am like, Urban, you got up that ladder by yourself. You're going to get yourself down that ladder by yourself. And I will be here at a safe distance, but like, I'm not helping you. You're going to figure it out. Like, I am that type of parent, and Drew is a more hands-on parent. Like,
I mean, yeah.
Or
I
for
feel
instance,
definitely, it's changed over the years, but like immediately after Everly died, like, yeah, I was hyper aware of everything going on, because if I could control something happening bad, like something bad happening to my kid, like, I'm gonna do everything I can to not feel those feelings again. Like,
and then
that
me
was the worst thing
on
in
the
my life.
opposite end is, oh, you want to check the baby monitor again to make sure Urban's breathing? Well, if he's not breathing, he's already gone. Like, that's terrible. I get it. Like, that's terrible, but that's how my brain works, is like, I'm the type of person that's like, if it's supposed to happen, it's going to freaking happen. Like, we have zero control in this life. And you're like, well, I have this little bit of control, so I'm going to check the baby monitor every hour, you know? And so it's interesting how and I would say that that's anxiety. And when people say, like, I suffer from anxiety and depression, I always, like, thought that I did, but I don't think I have really an ounce of anxiety. Do you think? I don't think I do. I think that I suffer with depression. That was even before Everly, maybe even before getting married. Like, I think that it runs in my family. I think that I get really, really low. It's never been like dangerous low, but it's low enough that I am very rude to myself, and the world is much better if I just don't leave the house today. And then I just wallow, and I have zero energy, and I just want to hang out and sleep and veg all day long. And that for me is my depression. And I get depressed sometimes, where I go in those waves. A lot of it has to do with my menstrual cycle. It's a different episode right there. But I will tell you, I can't even say that I suffer from anxiety. I think I used to, but I think that Everly cured me of that.
Yeah, maybe.
Because if anything, I feel like I have no control. So, like, why would I count the odd and even numbers in my text messages when my daughter passed away anyways? So, like, why would I work? Like, I can't. I have zero control. So, like, I'm not going to do my rituals to keep my family alive if they're just going to die anyways. Crazy.
Yep, there's lots of different ways that people grieve. There's no one way. So,
And I feel like you have more anxiety than you do depression.
yeah, probably.
Like you get more stressed out, more anxious about things that are going on rather than like.
Or like, yeah, my anxiety is more like looking into the future of what could happen and worrying about what could happen.
Yeah.
And like trying to
And
fix it before it happens.
Really bad. He actually had a injury playing flag football a couple years ago where he got a concussion, and you were like, it was so.
I mean,
bad.
That happens with head injuries.
Yes, like he got a head injury, and it literally like he would have a headache and be like, I have a brain tumor. I'm gonna die tomorrow. I have a cough. I must have pneumonia. I have something in my lung. Like, you would like go 10 steps deep into whatever WebMD of your mind, and diagnose yourself with something. And I'd be like, honey, just go to the ER, get all the blood work done, all the MRIs, spend all the money to give yourself peace of mind. And that's eventually what you did.
Yeah.
And you found out that you had a broken neck.
I did.
He had like a broken bone in his neck, legit, and you had a concussion. And so I'm glad you went and checked that out.
Yeah. Listen to your body, though, still at the same time.
It was crazy, but even that he had to do therapy for, so he had to do like exercises to like retrain his brain. So, I mean, it just goes to show like your brain needs help, y'all. Get therapy, get help.
For sure. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, that was a lot. Ooh.
Okay. Like, subscribe, share the show.
Oh, that one was heavy.
Give us a review.
But that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, the happy everly after, and how we have been through some freaking low times. But because of those lows, we enjoy our highs so much.
I think that's a part of life. All of us go through it.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for listening.
See you next time.
To this episode of Happy Everly After, and have a wonderful day.